Hello, everyone. This is Jay Chatfield. I'm so glad to be back today. I know I've been gone for a while, but I intend to post more. I was thinking today about spirituality, the gateway to spirituality. For a person that's been in the confines of religion for over half of my life. I grew up in religion. The thing is it wasn't just one religion that I was associated with. My family was a Baptist uh, church going family. I went to Catholic school. Before I went to Catholic school, I was in a Lutheran school. So I grew up with exposure to three religions. And then at some point, I had a friend that was Jehovah Witness. So that is the Baptist Christian faith, the Lutheran faith, the Catholic faith, and then Jehovah Witness. And then when I married my husband, it was Pentecostal. So my mind was already in an open state because I had to learn the rules of this religion and then how they did it here, how they did it here. And it wasn't so much of learning the rules of the Pentecostal faith, it was more of what they did different than the others because it was all the same. I learned that they're all serving the same God and they all had their different rituals to it, like their different ways of doing it. You prayed the rosary. Baptist people, we prayed and sweat and cried and kneeled and hummed. Lutheran was very straightforward to me. It was a little bit more like a disciplined. I don't have any these are the only ones that I have any knowledge of. But Lutheran was very like, you know, there was they said amen in the Catholic Church. I think I went to, well, the priest that he was black, the one that I went to the church, the priest, the head priest, and he had to have some gospel roots somewhere because that was the only Catholic church I went to where people were like, hey, amen. And that kind of was like, okay, this is familiar because at my Baptist church, that was, every service, every sermon, every time. And then the Jehovah Witness was very straightforward also. It was very disciplined. I never went to a sermon, but I did read their book and I were around some of the people that went there. So they were a little bit more. And I had two friends in high school that were Jehovah Witness too. And then when we got to Pentecostal, it was like you were in your car dancing before you even got in the church. It was like, oh, yeah. I mean, it was funny. It was funny to me because I never heard anybody like speak, you know, in tongues, and it was like, should we throw water on them? Should we? I mean, what should we? I'm because you didn't do that in my Baptist church. If a person started to speak in tongues, they would take you in the back, and like you would hear it would be out loud, and then all of a sudden it'd be, and then that person would pass out. I was like, I don't want no parts of that. Why I got to fall? Why do I have to fall out? Like what I got to do? What is this? You know, and then they'll go get the smelling salts. Why do we even have that on deck at church? I didn't know. And there was a nurse always walking around. That was different. And it was, oh, and they're back, And then in the Pentecostal church, they just let you go. Like, I mean, people would be. I thought the ambulance should have been sitting in the parking lot at a Pentecostal church because the way those people would fall out and hit their heads on altars and walls, wigs flying off. Oh my gosh, a man stepped on this lady ponytail one time and she was trying, I thought she was trying to get up, but his feet was there and I don't know. Everybody was like, yes! And I'm like, I think she's trying to get up, y'all. His foot, and I wanted to go over there and be like, if you just move your foot, she would not convulse anymore. But I know I'm laughing because when I think back on it, it was an experience that serves me in my life now. When you transition into a spiritual lifestyle, a life of knowing you're an infinite being and that there is no God outside of yourself. Like when you transfer into that, you love and learn the Bible more for the metaphorical teaching, the teachings that it has, or the lessons that it has. But also, everything has knowledge. There's knowledge in everything, and you want to know all of the things. Like, you're not crazy if you're just like, I want to read this book, and I want to read this book, and I want to do that. Because, see, when you go into the confines of one religion, it only wants to give you what it wants to give you, right? There's nothing else outside of whatever else is um, presented, you know. But then when you've had a taste of different ones, you get to see that, wow, you guys are all talking about the same thing, but the difference is that, you know, I can I don't wear stockings here, or we have to acknowledge Mary here, but that's still the mother of Jesus. You know, it's so many, you know, different, you start to connect the dots, and that's for you. I'm just telling you about my experience. And along the way, I came to say, why do I have to be in one? What is it? Why? If I have came to the understanding that the God that everyone speaks of is inside of me and not out there somewhere, then I don't need to be a religion associated person, you know. And doing this journey, I thought I was going crazy. I know I would have anxiety attack because I was detaching from the idea that um, hell was awaiting me if I didn't stay in this box. But what didn't make sense to me, and I'm being totally honest, and maybe some of my friends listen to this or they don't, and it really doesn't matter to me anymore because this is just, I can't ride along with it anymore. I did a, a stint of working at a apartment ministry, and in this you're there to convert them to a religion, or get them to start to go to a church or whatever. But then I realized that how many people had it together. Like, I found out that there were so many people in a well mind state without the confines of religion. Like, that blew my mind because I thought this is, and honestly, at that time that I was doing that, I was depressed. I had issues. Like, I learned so much from the people that I was supposed to be ministering to. And that bothered me. That seemed wrong, to me. You know, I know about that, but that seemed, why were they so peaceful? And I had so much turmoil in my life. And it just couldn't be, these people helped me out. Why were they going to hell? Like, what's the reason for them going to hell? And then, you talk to some people, they say it's because they don't believe this, or, well, it's, everybody has different beliefs. And even in that religion, people had different beliefs, you know? And I'm just being honest. There were people who believed that I should sleep with my boyfriend before I married them, but in their belief system, they didn't believe in that. But you still came there every day. I don't know. It was just so awkward to me of, oh, you had an abortion, now we're going to expel you from the Catholic Church. What? You know, however you want to think about it. There was no grace, no mercy. What happened to all of that stuff? That's what we sang about before you did something. Now we got to throw you out. It was just different for me. And just breaking into the life of listening to your intuition, I have never been better. I am actually in a place of peace, tranquility, abundance, a light. I am able to hear and do so much more for myself and my family in this state of mind, in this state of being able to communicate with myself, my higher self. And it's the same way that they teach you into religion, but you look more into yourself. But I want to tell you, my transition was not easy. It took me about 2.5 years because you're so comfortable. You're comfortable where you are because for 36 years, this is what I leaned on. And now I was separating myself, and I would just wake up in the middle of the night, panic attack, sweating, because I was I had a fear of just not knowing if I was doing the right thing. So after a couple of nights of me just waking up in a state of fear, I said, God, what what is going on with me? What am I supposed to do? And when I settled down and closed my eyes, and at this time, I wasn't meditating at all. At this time, the voice said within me, it said, just live. And I'm like, just live? That was pretty vague, you know? And at the time I said that, it was 11:11 on the clock. It said, just live, right? And I got to thinking, like, how can I live if I don't love myself? And I began that continuing the journey. So I knew I had to change some things about myself, and I did. But because I started to love myself, life opened up a little bit more and more and more. With my comfortability, life began to open up more and more. And then when I got to a certain level, it became a little bit more uncomfortable because I was breaking that comfort zone of I'm gonna just stay. But then when you start to get those messages that tell you to do things that are just, you're like, you got to be kidding me. What are you talking about? This makes no sense. But and you follow it, and then you see the fruit of you following it. I had someone tell me the other day, she said, there are so many people that I talk to, and they say the things that resonate with them and the boxes that they're in, if they're in a box at all. But she said, I speak to you, but I see your fruit. And to me, that's in the Bible. You will know them by their fruit, the fruit they bear. If that's how you want to go with it. And it's not that I don't, I grew up with the Bible. I know the basis of it. And there are some things that I missed, and I go back and I hear, and then it'll bring it back to me. Like when it talks about how the word is in you, it truly is. Because there were scriptures I didn't even know existed. And there was something happening in my life, and it was like, go here. And I'm like, okay, it said go here. I'm gonna, oh yeah. And there it was. And or it'll say, go buy this book or listen to this person. They're going to tell you what you need to know. And I want to tell you, it's been such a freeing experience because on this path of loving myself to life, I've learned to love everything about life. Now, when I say that, love everything about life's teachings, lessons, and rewards, I say that. There's some things I don't care for, and there's some things I don't want to be a part of, but that's because my reality is what I create. And I've been pretty, successful at that, in this moment of time. But I had to learn that it wasn't something that was taught to me. And this is something I'm teaching my kids now. But I don't want to be here too long. I just want to say, if you are on that road of maybe having some doubts and you need someone to talk to, I do have a webpage, Loving Yourself to Life, and these are my honest chats. I do offer those. I'm going to put it in the description. And I call them honest chats because some people just need someone to be honest with. They just need someone to say, look, I don't know if I believe the sky is blue, without someone saying, oh, you so crazy, you know? And I think people need a release like that in your life. Um, and people just want to talk it out. So I do offer this as a 1 hour service. There's other things that I do offer too. I do have courses available. Focus Your Hustle. I'm sitting in a building. Listen, I'm going to put more information up. I started this business in the middle of COVID, right? And everyone told me and the partner that I started with that we were crazy. That we were crazy for starting a business in the middle of COVID. And I'm still sitting in the business. So guess what? We hit our numbers and we made profits. And this month, we are way ahead of where we started 2 months ago when we started. And then now we're at the point of getting ready to hire. Let me tell you, when you start to love yourself to life and focus your hustle, that's one thing. And I'll continue to talk about this too, because I think a lot of people do need this. I needed it. I thought that whenever you had something that pop up in your head, that was, let's go, let's go, let's go. But it's the focus. It's the focus of your hustling, the hustling in your mind that will take you to places that you never thought that you would go. I never thought that I would own commercial, that I would be renting. Right now I'm renting, but it will be ours. We've already put it out there. If not this, then it will be other. Something that will just come. And the way this fell in our lap, listen, that's going to be another podcast and another I am recording my podcast at the moment that I'm also doing a YouTube video. So that's going to be another thing too, of how this has been working out for us and how it's going. And also honest chats with just your friends. If you want to just go to the Facebook page, Loving Myself Back to Life is at Loving Me Too. And we'll be having an honest chat on Monday. We have them every week and they're on different topics. But the one-on-one honest chats is just you talking to me about what you want to talk about. And if you want me to say something, I will. It's not something that we do and it's all knowing. In my consultations or in my honest chats, I don't like to call them consultations because we're not doing something. I'm not telling you to do something. It's you realizing that you do everything. You have the power to do whatever you want to do. But I do ask you questions. I do give you examples. So if you are interested in that, I do have a calendar up and I would love to speak with you because I like to talk. I do. And I've been a secret keeper for ages. I think I got secrets. I don't know. I was like, oh yeah, I do know that. But that's just my Scorpio personality. Y'all know about them Scorpios, secretive. But yeah. And we're also amazing. All right, then. I'm just going to tell you just to keep the faith in yourself, keep the hope in yourself. Don't let the things on the outside deter you from doing what the inside is telling you.